now it's working. I was trying to save it to a folder that didn't exist anymore. So, okay, here we go. Hello, welcome back to Transcending Humanity. This is episode 3. Today we are joined by Devin and Erica, two new hosts with us today. The topic of conversation is very topical. If you follow me on LinkedIn, it is how to be an ally. And when I mean that, I mean an authentic ally and not a performative ally. And we will get into the differences between those here in our conversation. But first, I would like to have Devin and Erica introduce themselves and say a little bit about themselves and all that wonderful stuff. So, Devin, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Devin. Pronouns are they, them. Live in Chicago, basically have a background got my degree in social work, but I work in financial services now as a compliance advisor. So I'm basically like Toby from The Office, telling financial advisors no. So I'm obviously loved by everyone.
Someone has
But
to do it.
exactly. And hey, I can work in this field and I can actually like make a small difference by saying, hey, you can't promise things you can't actually, you don't know what's going to happen. In June of last year, I started an organization called Trans Rally. It's a membership organization for members and friends of the trans community. We're 178, 179 strong. The idea is to provide a safe space for people to network professionally, to get internal job posting referrals, to build a financial base for the community.
Awesome. Erica, you are up.
Hi, I'm Erica Vogel. Sorry, I just got a weird alert on my computer. It's messing everything up. I don't know if we can cut and start again. Okay, sorry.
I might leave it in just because I like stuff. I like keeping things at the
But hey,
shows.
you get bloopers if you cut it.
Well, there's the humanity part of transcending
Right on.
humanity. So,
That's true.
Yeah. Hi, Erica. See, I'm still doing it. And then this encapsulates me entirely. I get flustered and I just start talking. Hi, I'm Erica. Clearly just had a weird issue in the intro there. Pronouns are she, her, right? Queer, transgender woman. I am a senior product manager in financial technology. And before that, I was graphic designer, illustrator, photographer, also with other big businesses. I'm married to a wonderful queer woman. We have a child at home, and I have 3 adult kids, all of whom are part of the LGBTQIA rainbow.
it's so cool. It's so
Yeah.
cool. Well, I welcome both of you. It's wonderful to have you on the show. And I'd say let's go ahead and just dive in about being an ally. To give a quick synopsis, a performative ally is essentially a corporation in June where they're an ally as long as it's convenient to them. So, like, it'll be the people that say, "Oh, I appreciate you," that kind of stuff, but they will talk the talk, but they're not going to walk the walk. An authentic ally is the person that is willing to get down in the trenches with you. They're the people that will lose friends and family to be an ally because it be as you both know, coming out, all that is you're going to lose friends and family. And it's terrifying and it's hard and it's sad and it's heartbreaking. And an authentic ally is going to have that as well. And it's hard to find people that are willing to do that, but they're going to be ostracized just for
Mm-hmm.
deciding to put humanity above whatever else. Um, so yeah, let's just talk about performative experiences that you two have had, all that. So let's just knock it out.
Yeah, Erica?
Sure. Um, Performative allyship is definitely not my favorite. I prefer closer to the variety that you spoke about already. Um, in my day job, I work in financial technology, as I said, but as part of my day job, I am part of the national leadership team of our LGBTQI ERG, BRG affinity group, depending on what you guys call it, right? And Pride Month's coming up. right? Now we have a robust calendar and we do a lot of things to celebrate. I'll actually be having my own event as part of it. And that's the way I think a lot of sort of middle of the road companies tackle it. They're kind of good in that month. We are great in that month, but we are really good all year long. Something every single month. We send people to queer conferences. And I think most companies don't get anywhere near that. And frankly, most companies sort of rely on someone to decide to do it informally, if not actually squashing the idea of pride. So all of that's performative. If you only care about pride in June, or you make money off of pride as a big part of your revenue, and you don't care about others the rest of the year, you're really a performative ally in my book. And the way I kind of differentiate really good allies is it's not the person that says they're an ally just online, or maybe to you in person, but you never see them show up. That's really more like finding a good way to voice tolerance in my mind. I'm tolerant of you. Like, you don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. That's tolerance. An ally to me is the person that speaks when I'm not in the room and the subject comes up, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in the room, you guys believe I'm going to be talking about it and they'll be supporting me. But they have the courage, the strength, the fortitude, and the humanity to stand up when I'm not in the room. Um,
Yeah.
and that's not an easy thing to do.
No,
And
not
I
at
think a
all.
lot, yeah, and I think a lot of people sort of feel like, "Ooh, is it worth it?" I have a lot of people in my life who are allies in a lot of places in their lives. And yeah, as you called out, Vanessa, some people do lose friends and they lose contact with family. But I would say don't let that discourage you because it's probably not just this one thing, right?
Yeah.
If you lose your dad over supporting people with trans rights, there's probably some other stuff going on too. So
There's
I don't want
some
people to
deeper
feel
issues.
like this is just sort of adds and maybe expedites those situations. But
Yeah.
anybody who chooses to give their fellow person space to be themselves, the benefit of the doubt, does decides not to put them in a box, is
Mhm.
someone that's an ally.
Yeah.
Everybody who needs to put something in a box has some work to do.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, I think, that we even have to like distinguish people who are allies because we live in such a hostile world. Like it should
Yeah.
be that you're just a person, I'm a person, we have differences, cool. We bring something different to the table, cool. But like there are people who want to hurt other people and basically use anything that they can as a weapon, either for their own self-interest or because I guess they're sadists or something, but
Yeah.
just it's not
Yeah.
great.
It's not. It's not. I have a burp coming up. Hopefully, it doesn't come off as I'm trying to talk here. I have a friend that works for a large software company that I'm not going to name it, but it's a large cost software company that suddenly became less large because they did some really shitty things to their employees. But
Uh-oh.
um, so my friend was telling me about the the diversity groups at that company, and
Mhm.
it's all 100% like the. In order for employees to get involved, they have to sign up through HR, but it's completely unpaid. It has to be completely outside of business hours. It has to
Mhm.
be completely outside of all of your duties,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's completely outside, and it doesn't factor into performance reviews. Nothing. But the company can then use the fact that those programs exist that they're not paying for, they're not supporting in any way, but they can use those as bragging rights. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's just dangerous and it's not allyship at all. So if you're at a company
That's
that does stuff like that, it doesn't benefit anybody. Companies if a company wants to be an ally, they it's they might lose some customers over it initially, yes, but in the long run, just from everything I've seen, it kind of works out for them in the future. So
And I have, I guess, two examples top of mind for myself at least. One is recently Dylan Mulvaney with Bud Light. The
Mhm.
fact that, as every beer drinker, a lot of beer drinkers are like,
Bud
oh my
Light
gosh,
beer,
someone who's trans, um, you know, having any sort of relationship with Bud Light. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Now it's just basically, a lot of board of people in the board of directors were like, hey, we don't want this. it's hurting
Yeah.
us now, so let's bring out commercials that are all about patriotic flags and stuff,
Hmm.
The
and
Clydesdale.
implicitly stepping away from it. But I think that there's also positive examples too. One that's like not very known, which is actually like it's not great that it's not known, but it's in some ways a little bit more substantive. But T-Mobile actually, they have a
Hey.
bank account for T-Mobile customers where people can actually change their name to their preferred name. MasterCard has a program called the True Name program, and you can change your name without it being legally different. But for example, T-Mobile just decided to just do that, which is amazing. And they're not like waving it around and being like, "Hey, here's what we, hey, people who are queer, look at this." No, it's just like, "Hey, cool, let's just
Mhm.
do it." That's in an act of being an ally, even
Yeah,
if it's something small
Yeah.
like that.
it makes me want to
And
switch to T-Mobile.
yeah, I work in fintech, financial technology, and what you're talking about, Devin, is a trend that's growing fast. I think there are other banks, other financial institutions that have also rolled out something similar, whether credit card or whatever. But just about every single bank is working to bring that about, and we'll probably see it, widely distributed everywhere, at least in the U.S. within the next year, which is a
Yeah,
great thing for a variety of reasons, but particularly for trans and non-binary people.
yeah. To touch on that too, I'm
Definitely.
just sorry for just talking so much, but I just a lot of stuff is happening with this because I'm in finance and everything too.
Yeah.
I spoke to someone who I'm not going to name their name, but they worked at Daylight Bank, and that's one of the fintech companies that is marketed towards queer community. And there was an insane expose. I think it was in New York Mag, and you should all read it. Like there's someone suing Daylight Bank because it's basically like venture capitals trying to like wrap itself in a veneer of the queer community, but
Mhm.
actually it's like tech bro 1,000%. And like they had this crazy party in Mexico, and now they're trying to like basically do something with like making people surrogate parents against their will or something. It's something weird, like just it's a crazy story. But that's if that happens and it's Daylight Bank, which is like the queer bank, at least that's what they were trying to market themselves
Right.
as.
This shit just makes my brain hurt.
Yeah.
Like hearing that T-Mobile makes things easy is refreshing because I have AT&T and it is not easy at all. Like I
Mhm.
did my entire legal name change right down to my birth certificate and um, right down to the gender marker on my birth certificate, which is a pain in the ass to do in Ohio. In some states, you can't do it at all. But and I tried updating my name with AT&T. You can't do it online, and I was able to quote unquote update my name on my caller ID. But anytime I called someone, it was coming up with my dead name. Um,
Mhm.
so I called customer support. They're like, you can only do that at a store. And so I went to a store near me, but it's an affiliate store. And just the look I got walking in from the person working there kind of told me how that entire thing was going to go. But I live in a very red area, and I'm pretty visibly trans, especially in person. And it was, you know how it is. But so they supposedly changed it and updated it, but it still hasn't changed. So it shouldn't be that hard to change your name, especially on a fucking phone bill, but it is.
Yeah. Quite hard.
Yeah. Um,
I remember that.
so ways that companies can be authentic. That's the more interesting part because we can rag on people for being performative all we want, but in the end, we're here to educate and
Hmm.
to just bring knowledge to people. And ways that people can do that is, as Devin said, you don't make a big deal out of it, but you can put it in your company's mission statement. There's little things like Discord, perfect example. On I, on my massive job hunt, I apply to Discord occasionally, and they put right on their application that part of what they do is they give $25,000 towards gender affirming surgeries, and that is right there in the open on their job descriptions when you apply. And it's just little things like that. Knowing that a company has your back is extremely important. Um, and because especially those of us in the job hunt, we're looking around for things, and it's hard to find a company. You don't know if you're going to be signing up for a place that's just going to be completely toxic. So seeing things like that, where they put it right there in rating, so you can see it, but they're also not bragging about it, and that's the important thing: is to be subtle but be strong. And I'm very appreciative of Discord for doing that. There's a lot of other companies that do that name things like that as well.
Mhm.
But
Or if you
um,
do something crazy, I mean, I would be like, if someone's like, yeah, we're giving $10 million to Trans Lifeline, I'd be like, parade that all you want. That's substantive,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Yeah, of
yeah,
You can
course.
do that. But don't be
I,
like, oh, we bought someone something for $400 and then spend $10,000 on marketing saying that you spent $400. It's
yeah.
like, why?
yeah.
Sorry.
I think if we want to sort of point people at smaller companies or medium companies, or even if you're in a large company, towards improving your ally representation of LGBTQ people, and by the way, intersectionality, all marginalized communities, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
But what you should be looking for is your company has a calendar of holidays, right? I'm sure Christmas is on there, and New Year's, and Memorial Day, and Fourth of July, and Labor Day, and Thanksgiving in this country. It's really easy to find very published calendars that have days that cover diversity and inclusion, Trans Day of Visibility, for example, not just Pride. So ask your company why they haven't built out a calendar of all diverse events, right? Because they probably don't just have, Joe, the cishet white guy, is the only employee if they're even considering this,
Hmm.
right? So that's number one. Find those days. Your company doesn't have to take those days off. What you have to do is let people know, hey, it's intersexuality day, it's lesbian awareness day, it's whatever day, and write a little something about it and start to bring this to your attention. And like I said, while you're at it, don't just stop with our community if you're going to go that route.
Yeah.
I think pulling together, creating affinity groups, whether they are officially sanctioned in some way or casual ones, and getting people just talking and visiting and building community. And I think what happens when you put some focus on that in your company helps new people find a group of people to talk to, but it also helps maybe people newly to their queerness start to find a place to go. Many people feel isolated, so work on your company getting people together to talk and plan and listen. And then, of course, obviously, you should celebrate all of the high queer holidays, right?
Hmm.
But there are plenty of conferences, there are plenty of courses to consume. There's so much out there to educate your people on how to care for, make space for, advocate, and elevate your queer employees. It's not hard to find, it's not hard to consume. If your company's not doing these things, just pick one and start, and then pick the next thing. Do you want your company to improve? And they do all these things? Do they send people to conferences? Do you have internal content to consume, right? There's always something to add.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It sounds simple, and really, it doesn't. It's not even that expensive to do it. Um,
Nope.
but then people will be drawn to your company, especially employees.
Yes.
I mean, because they're like, okay, a safe place for us. You know,
Like
it.
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks, but then the Starbucks also has the whole union thing going on. So
Oh,
that's
yes,
there.
yes,
You
yes.
have the two. Yes, it's very queer friendly, but they're also trying to union bust. So, but I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what you mean, like, because I know they have amazing insurance, and um, but just being when people find out that a company is going to actually value them as a human, be it any sort of minority, especially race, because in the end, DEIA starts and ends with racism. Um, and everything has to be acknowledged. And, like, you see just a lot of like little things, like why is Easter a holiday where companies are closed but not Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of food for thought, kind of things like that. And it wouldn't be a big deal uh, to have holidays on non-traditional holidays, non-Judeo-Christian holidays. Really, is what it boils down to be. So
Mm-hmm.
it it doesn't take much, but just to kind of step back and look at your employees, talk to your employees. As a leader, I've always valued. I don't like to be a boss as a leader. I've always been in management positions in one way or another. I ran a business for 13 years, and my leadership style was to listen to the people because they're the ones actually doing the work. They're the ones that are doing the job day by day, seeing everything. I full on realize I don't know. I know the gist of what they do, but I don't know all the nitty
Mm-hmm.
gritties. So when people are listened to, be it work performance or be it in DEIA or just knowing that they can go to someone that will just hear them if they're having a shitty day, you shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid to go to your supervisor. I don't even know where I was going with all this, but it's important to make sure that your staff feels heard, especially
Yeah. Yeah.
since Gen Z and soon Gen Alpha are joining the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
and those generations don't take shit. It's there. I have so much respect for them because
Yeah.
if they don't like something, they're just gonna leave. They'll find something else. And I just saw my dog go hurtling down the stairs. So it's companies need to get with the program here, or else they're going to be left behind. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's my point right there, I suppose.
So I have a question for both of you. One of the ways I like to talk about allyship is to talk about the difference between what it means to be my ally versus an ally to the trans community versus Devin's ally. I think it helps opens up conversations that help people to know their role as an ally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we call this out at the top. Ally is is it is an action word. It means
Yeah.
action. So
Yeah.
what would it mean to you, Vanessa, for me to be the kind of ally that I would need to be for you? And is that any different than the rest of the trans community?
Personally, it's what I ask people. I, I've made posts on it, but usually it's on Facebook and the algorithm just makes it fall flat. But um, if you see my content and it resonates with you, hit that fucking share button
Yeah.
and comment on it. When you share it, set the privacy to public, not just to friends. Show support. That also helps get our our words out there. So for me, most of my activism is on social media because I'm a parent. If I'm not parenting, I'm job hunting, so I don't have time to go out and like do things. So I do my activism online, and the best thing that people can do is help me get my voice heard. And I think that goes for the entire trans community
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of us, all of us online, we're just sitting there just screaming out to the void, and it's some of us our voices are heard more than others. And luckily we happen to have some of those people on staff at this podcast, but others, we're pushing, we're struggling, and we
Mm-hmm.
just need to be able to be heard.
Yeah.
And if people really want to support us, it's as easy as clicking that share button. Or also, in my case, I have some family members that I can't get to stop going to fucking Chick-fil-A. And no matter how much I say, they're like, well, other companies are bad too. I'm just like, all I want you to do is just not go to Chick-fil-A. That's all I ask. Especially don't take my kid there. But I'll come down, uh, I'll come downstairs and throw something away, and I'll see Chick-fil-A things in the garbage. I'm like, for fuck's sake,
For
it's
cluck's sake.
yeah, for cluck's sake. There's I have the explicit mark checked on this
No,
podcast, so you guys, you two can just unload.
I'm
But
just joking. I
Oh,
was
good.
yeah,
joking
but
about
no, I get it. It's
it.
fuck Chick-fil-A. It,
Yeah.
the other day the power went out here for like a long time, and like it knocked out everywhere, and Chick-fil-A wasn't included. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. So But anyways, yeah, for me, that is my main thing is to be an ally to me, help my voice get out. So
Awesome. What about you, Devin?
Yeah, so on a day-to-day at least, I kind of have a strong personality slash I'm a stubborn son of a bitch. So I honestly, for me personally, I don't have an extreme attraction, I guess, to any like a gender binary necessarily, so I'm non-binary. So I honestly don't really care what pronouns people use. I use they them, but if
Mm.
it's socially fluid and if I look like a dude that day or something, I'm okay. He, him, that's fine. It's not a huge deal. But for me, the thing I think that I want people to do on a day-to-day basis is do something difficult
Mhm.
because being a real ally is not easy. And, there's that one episode or that one show, I think it was like Dateline NBC or whatever, is like, what would you do? And it was, you know, they were staging fake like arguments, like abusive arguments and that kind of thing. And people would just walk by and not do anything. And that was the whole premise of the show. And I would say just if you see something, say something and just speak up. I would say too for myself at least, I run Trans Rally, be a member, become a member, get people jobs because our goal is to like network and to build an economic base for people because I think it's something like 80% of people with autism are unemployed or underemployed and autism and the trans community is a pretty large overlap.
mm-hmm.
And also, like our appearances, especially if you live in an unsafe area, aka anywhere not in the city, pretty much in the United States, even in blue states.
Yeah,
If you live
yeah,
outside the city, it's not safe usually. And there's just so much that goes wrong. Like, there was a politician recently that I think it was in like Montana that was censured for speaking out against
yeah.
the
Zoe
bill.
Zephyr. That's actually
Zoe
Mhm.
something
Zephyr,
I wanted
Yeah.
to
yeah.
talk about today.
And like in the censure letter, they misgendered her multiple times. So it's a hard world out there. And allyship that really matters is not easy.
Yeah.
And it might put you at risk and it will cost something, either monetarily or social, if it's true allyship, I would say.
But it's
Now,
also extremely rewarding.
it's so rewarding
Yeah. Yeah.
because it makes you live an authentic and genuine life and it actually does something for the world
Mm-hmm.
instead of like we're in this podcast and everyone competes with all those stupid ads that just flood our eyeballs every
Mm-hmm.
day. Like I hate personally Liberty Mutual ads as an example. Not a huge fan.
No,
Horrible low
no, they're
quality
horrible.
ads. But we're competing against that for our humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard. Just if you do something genuine and authentic, just be yourself and speak up. That's what I would say to anyone who's listening.
That
Yeah.
the line, if you hear something, say something. That sums up allyship really.
Mm.
So another line I saw is real allies show up.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's that simple. So
Yeah, I have some similarities to both of you in terms of what it means to be my ally. I think number one is that you identify yourself to be. I want to know, right?
yeah,
And you ask what I need, right? So if we walk into the room and someone says something, I don't need you to get in front of me. I need you to stand behind me while I
mm-hmm.
handle the situation. But there might be some where you're going to get a cue from me, and it's okay for you to step forward. So I think when we talk about allyship, we can always have to remember that there's what the community needs, but you might, if you have someone you know who's trying to ask how they would like you to show up. So it kind of goes back to what you said: show up, take action. Stand by behind me, stand with me when I can't speak. Use your words, lend your privilege to me,
Yeah,
right? That's to me is what it means to be my personal ally. But it also means like be there with, just be in the moment with me, because I'm gonna like be loud about my trans joy, and I want you to share that and feel proud that we get to stand together on something that's about basic humanity. Obviously, when it comes to the community, like, help use your voice, but don't talk over ours. Elevate
Yeah.
marginalized voices, right?
And if I'm
Advocate for
being a
them.
fool too, like, let me know in private, please.
Yeah,
It's like if
yeah,
you have a piece of toilet
totally.
paper on your foot or something,
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
know.
But when you see us post
But yeah,
something, I think you both have talked about earlier, share that. Add a comment, like, but pass it on. Elevate our
yeah,
voices. Don't speak over ours. When you can use your voice, use it, right? And lend your time, like I said earlier, lend your privilege. Show up with us. If we're going to a rally, show up. If you want to go to the rally and we don't know about it, let us know and show up, right? Speak up when we're not there. That's my ally. The people that I find out didn't speak up for me when something went down in the room that I wasn't in, they're out of the circle, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, allyship, this can go for any marginalized community. Don't just scroll on by when you see something. When you see something, it's like, if you read it and say, "Hey, that's fucked up," well, let other people know that it's fucked up and that you
Totally.
feel that it's fucked up,
yeah.
and to spread that up. Another thing that people can help the trans community, and a very simple thing, is if you're out hanging out with us, go to the bathroom with us. It's just that makes life so. It's such a simple thing, but we are also. I mean, last week's episode was about bathrooms, and we're all just
Mhm.
terrified of bathrooms. Just go with us, please. That's a very powerful way to be an ally. Honestly, it's just make sure that we can pee, especially if we're out drinking or something.
Yeah.
Because
That episode was so like affirming, like, oh, I'm not the only one that's like nervous in the ladies or in a changing room, or loving that, where's the Starbucks on the road trip, right?
mm-hmm.
But my someone said to me last week, because I was sort of relaying some of the experiences I had while I was out of town recently, and had to sort of be in a public changing space, even though there was private cubicles she had to go to, but you had to be in the ladies, right? And she reminded me, like, hey, by the way, cisgendered women aren't looking at anybody else either. Probably almost no one noticed you because they were busy dealing with their own shame of being kind of naked in public.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, when we go into the bathroom, I'm certainly not thinking about anybody else. I'm trying to think, I'm thinking about being as least intrusive as possible and to be a much smaller version of my 5'11 frame and all of the things. But I just want to get in and get out.
Yeah.
And what I love, like, my wife will go with me when we're out together places, which is great. It's always helpful to have someone kind of hold my hand because I get scared too sometimes. But occasionally I'll see other women in public and they're like, let's go. If you
That is
see us
so
and you
refreshing.
support us, stand right there with us in the bathroom
Hey,
and
do you need
make
to pee?
sure.
I'll go pee with you.
Yes, exactly.
Guarantee we need to pee, especially trans people, trans femmes that are still on Spyro.
Yeah, the
Guarantee you that
urinalized.
person has to
No
pee.
for Spyro.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm done
I
with
don't.
Spyro.
Yeah, I had my orchiectomy last year, and it's so nice. So, but yeah, it's for those people
Just
listening
gotta
that
pee.
don't know what it is. Spyro is a spironolactone. It's a testosterone blocker, and it's a horrible,
Mhm.
horrible, horrible drug. And one of the many things it does, besides make your brain just not work, is it's a diuretic, and
Yeah.
you're just constantly peeing, and you have to just bring in so many pickles. You're just eating salt constantly. So, yeah,
Hmm.
that's Spyro. It sucks.
Yeah.
So, I
I
do.
stole it early in my journey, and that's something I'm like a little bit scared about as I start presenting more femme, because
Mhm.
I'm only a year into my hormone transition, and I mean I'm probably gonna go full femme slash like maybe not full. I don't know. Like we'll see. Ask me again in 12 months.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
But
it's
losing that mask privilege is something that I'm scared about.
it
It's a
is
big one.
scary. It's very valid to be scared, but I can tell you that it's jumping into a pool of cold water. But once you do, it is very liberating. So I'm kind of fast tracking my own transition. Like I had my Orky on my 1 year anniversary of starting hormones. So,
Mhm.
but I'm also a lot older, and I don't want to wait. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's there's no right or wrong way of doing it, but once you finally do, it's liberating. It's also terrifying. But if someone
Yeah,
asked me if I would change how I did things, no, no, no. Only thing I do is do it sooner. But that's it.
you're
It's
so
one of
powerful.
those, yes, you are. It's one of those big steps along a lot of big steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
When, deciding to choose to take hormones, whatever they might be, is a big scary one because that's like when, oh my gosh, things are really going to happen. And then they kind of happen and don't happen based on your sense of reality and expectations, right? And then
Yeah,
the next one is like, when do I go out in the light of day and let people see me? That whole thing. And there's more choosing to have that first gender affirming surgery, choosing various paths, getting the legal stuff. There's all of these big steps along the way, and they all have some fear that come with them. Maybe they get less over time. I don't know. But I remember when I first like really started not just kind of being neutral, who a little thin, but like, nope, I'm going out in public in makeup and whatever I want to wear. And it was nerve wracking for like 2 months, but it got a little better every day. And today, it's no big deal to me. I'm just like I dress however I want, wear as much makeup as I want, or don't. I don't wear heels because they suck for my feet, but I wear some nice chunky boots, and I don't even hardly think about it anymore unless someone goes out of the way to give me like a really crazy look that I can't miss. And from where you're standing, I never thought I would feel okay with it, but I knew it was something I had to do.
yeah.
Yeah,
It gets better. It gets so much better
It
each
gets
one of those
better,
steps that you take.
but also you do it as it feels comfortable to you.
yeah,
So
Totally.
never let
Totally.
anyone rush your transition. You just you go as you go. That's yeah. So and I'm proud of everyone on their transitions. Be it no matter how they do it, it's because it's brave. However you do it, whichever way you're going, and
exactly.
And speaking of allyship, internal allyship with our own trans siblings is
yes.
not putting our point of view on what it means to transition on them. Leave
Mm-hmm.
people alone.
Yeah,
They don't need to live by your expectations. I did not choose to divorce myself from manhood to listen to what you think I should be as a woman.
Yeah, I had to block someone on Instagram for that because she's like, "Yeah, your hairline's very masculine. You should do this, that, and the other to mask it, and
Mhm.
you shouldn't epilate. You should just go and get electrolysis with everything." I'm like, "Lady, I'm broke. I recognize that you have a lot of money and you can buy whatever surgeries never that you want. I don't have that luxury. So why don't you shut the fuck up?" And I even kind of called that
Mhm.
out on a post, and she made a snarky post on it, so I just blocked her. So because fuck that. Yeah,
We're
it's
not stepping away from where the gender binary says we should be to be put in another narrow box. Be
yeah.
whoever you are as trans and non binary, and no one gets to tell you who that is but
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So it's transitioning. It's an adventure. I did want to talk about Zoe really quick. Devin,
Yeah.
you brought her up. Zoe is a fucking hero. I have to say, like her and Aaron Reed together. I mean,
Hmm.
they are
Oh
together.
yeah.
They're a couple,
Yes.
and
Wait, they are?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're a
What?
couple. You didn't know that?
Wait,
On
I didn't know
Instagram,
that.
you can see them here in
That's
DC
amazing.
with me.
Well,
You
see,
can see them in
I'm
Colorado.
not on social media. That's the issue.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
But
they
okay.
are totally
okay.
together.
Oh yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's
Totally.
amazing.
They're so adorable. So I don't know if
Hmm.
either of them listen to this, but Aaron, Zoe, you two are amazing, and well, Aaron probably already knows I fangirl on her all the time, but because she likes my post case. But
Subscribe to Aaron.
anyways, what Zoe is doing is like she's being, as you said, she's being censured by the majority in the Montana House, and it means that she's not allowed to speak on bills, and it's only because she was trying to defend kids from being killed. That's what these Republicans are doing is they are trying to kill kids, and the Republicans can spin it however they want, but the truth is what they're doing is horrible, and they know it's horrible, and they don't like being shamed for it, and that's exactly what they criticize Zoe for doing. Is
Yeah,
Zoe was talking about, look, you are actively hurting these people. What you're doing is horrible. It's I believe the word she used was it's tantamount to torture, which is true.
It is.
And the majority leader uh, spoke over her, saying, "Who are you to shame us? That this you can't shame us in our in here." So, and that's what they brought up in that letter too, where they misgendered her. You know, it's just absolutely shitty. And but Zoe is still there. She's still fighting. She had a post today where she's like, "I may not be able to speak on the floor, but I am still here for my constituents." And it mirrors what happened in Tennessee to the point where the Republican caucus in Montana in their letter even mentioned they kind of blaming Zoe for the shit that happened in Tennessee, which that's something we talked about last episode, where one trans shooter out of thousands of shooters. How come it's all a trans problem? But whatever. Um, but the same thing happened in Tennessee with the Tennessee Three, in that power is being abused to
Mhm.
silence any sort of dissent that could start pushing forward progress, which is it, this is why I am hoping to find a way to get a political action committee together for the trans community, because this is something that the three of us have talked about on our Discord.
Mhm.
And I made a post about it on LinkedIn today. And other people like Devin, it's something that you've been working on for a while too. What we need is a consolidated voice, because we're scattered all over the place right now. We need a loud voice. We need support. We need money is one of the main things, because like it or not, in this country, the only thing that matters in this country is money. Period. That's all
Yeah,
that matters.
absolutely.
Humanity doesn't. People don't care about humanity. The Democratic Party is a perfect example of that. I don't like the Democrats either. They're fucking worthless. I vote for them because the alternative is voting for my own extinction. But everyone is bought and paid for. So the way to get around that is to throw money at the problem. And what I would hope to see in a pack is to help our voices be louder than all of this, just all these lies, that all this legislature is coming from just these groups that are just helping these legislators write these bills. It's all the same people doing it, and it's all lies. It's all fake science. It's nothing's real, but they're taking advantage of having their majorities and just shoving it through, like sometimes in secret meetings. It's
I mean,
so horrible.
for me, it seems like it's just a display of raw power to
It
hurt
is.
other
Of course.
people.
It
Of course.
is.
And as another example is on the 18th of April, 2 days ago, apparently, there were people who were protesting in the Missouri House, I believe, and they were in the galleries and there were kids there, trans kids. And so what they did is they actually locked the kids away from their parents and didn't let them in the gallery. And that was like they let them out after like an hour or two, but that was just a display of power saying, look what we
Yeah.
can do. Look what we can
Mhm.
do. And for me at least, my beliefs personally is generally on the right. Most things are about business. There are some people who are very religious and it's a zealotry, and that this is, I think, more driven by that
Yeah.
faction.
Mhm.
Definitely.
But
Mhm.
I think that honestly political contributions, especially with the over that was Supreme Court decision a while ago, I forget what it's called, but basically legalizing super PACs and dark money and unlimited contributions, it's all just a return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's all it is. Because the only real legislation that Donald Trump got passed was the Tax Reform Act that
Mhm.
decreased taxes. So it's a very simple and very logical calculation. We'll spend $4 billion to buy all the politicians and then save $40 billion in taxes over the
Mm-hmm.
next 10 years.
It's all about
Wonderful
money.
return on investment.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I'm trying to do with Trans Rally is to build an economic base that's self-sustaining in sort of a quasi-union so that it will then be a self-sustaining, self-funding thing. Because if we just like ask people for money, what's in it for them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
and that spigot, that faucet of money can just stop at any time
Hmm.
whenever someone else gives them more money.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
there's only 2 or 3 million people who are trans that think that are trans that surveys or whatever. I mean, I think it's probably like 30 million, but 3 million people or something say they're trans, and like that's a very small interest group
Hmm.
versus like all of the business owners
Right.
in America.
Well, that's why I think it's important that we find ways to contribute. You know, we had Zoe who ran and won a seat, right? We need
Yeah,
more people to get out there and do that.
Yeah.
We need a political action committee. We need to come together as a coalition. There's many of us out there, but it's usually just a few of us in places, and many of us spread out by ourselves. We need to find ways, forums, online, and things like this podcast
yeah,
to come together to have a single big voice that's so much
Yeah.
louder. And I love that we have so many content creators doing out there doing their own things, driving the message forward. But if we can all start to pull together instead of one person here, one person there, one person here, we're going to do better. Get out there and build your communities. Find others. Join places like this where your voice adds to an exponential effect.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like the movie An Ant's Life or whatever by
Yeah.
like Pixar. Ants are stronger
Mm-hmm.
together. You know, it's
Hmm.
just one of those things where
It's
we're
true.
all stronger together.
Yeah.
For a more current thing for people listening, The Mandalorian, um,
Yes.
they're stronger together too. So it's when they're divided, it's when they fall.
My favorite show.
S yeah, yeah.
How is
Try
that? I
not to
haven't
give
seen it yet.
spoilers. What's that?
I haven't seen it at all. How is it?
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, you have to watch it.
Amazing.
You have to watch
Okay.
it. So, um, yeah, that. One of the goals of the show. One reason that I love that we're having rotating hosts is people listening to this are going to be able to get fresh perspectives. I mean, like, I don't want to be on every single episode. I just have been so far. But like, I'm hoping next week that I won't be on the episode. And we'll have other people there to talk because next week's topic is going to be about parents of trans kids.
Yeah.
Um, but I love that we have so many different voices. Like this week, two fresh faces. We had fresh faces last week. And that's my goal for this because people will be able to come here to listen to us, to watch us, but every week they're going to have hear different experiences, and but everything's still going to be easy to find in this one spot, and that's what we need as the community at large. Is everyone needs to come together. So, um, Devin, go ahead and plug Trans Rally, however much as you want.
Transrally.org,
Yes.
please. What we're doing is we're going to be sending anyone who joins. So it's $3 to join as an individual member, but we have a 100% off coupon, Unity, that makes it $0. What we do is we provide a safe space on Discord where people are verified. They have to have a real identity, so it's troll free. It's extremely good. There's not been any trolls at all. I see the logs of people trying to come in and then they can't get in and then they get out, and it's been amazing. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sending QR code stickers. Here's an example. And we're going to be, basically giving one of these to people who join, even if they're free members, and they can essentially kind of have that physical show of force in a physical location, you know, outside of a Starbucks in a rural area or something like that, to act as a counter voice against these crazy people
Yeah.
who are trying to hurt us. And
Yeah.
we're stronger together. That's really what it comes down to. So transrally.org, please. I said I wouldn't plug, but then Vanessa said plug
No,
it.
no,
So I was like, yeah,
that's one thing I want people. I
yeah,
want hosts on the show to plug anything that you're working on because not only do we are we looking for allies, but we also speak out for ourselves. So,
yeah,
and if you, allies can sign up for a membership to Trans Rally, just the price of a fucking Starbucks a month, just sign up for a subscription. I'm gonna be honest. I had to cancel mine just because I have absolutely no income. But as soon as I have some income again, I want to bring on and actually have a larger portion of money going to it. So,
yeah. But we want to be fiscal sponsors of nonprofits whenever we're profitable. I will say too, like my ass is on the line too. I mean, like I've put all of my financial life sort of into this, and I'm contributing like over half of the monthly income that we have for it. Not of our household income, but of the income that we bring in as Trans Rally. So $300 a month currently is what I give. So like I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and not just like it's a net loss for me. So I'm not
Yeah.
making money off of it for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like it's we're trying to build a movement. I mean, I think it'll be successful. It's just kind of whether we'll grow quick enough to meet the need now, because a lot of shit's happening right now.
Yeah, that's the problem is it's all happening so fast. That's why I'm pushing for us to find we need allies with money and power. So,
Yeah.
um, cause, I mean, one thing like you'll see in our community, there's GoFundmes constantly, and like I'm gonna have another one starting up next week for my. I'm meeting with my surgeon, and it's our GoFundmes. It's pretty much just all of us in the trans community sending $5 to one, and then once ours comes around, all of the trans people send $5 to ours, and it's just we're just moving money around
Hmm.
in our own community, and it's hard, but you know that's what I
Yeah.
guess we have to wrap this up. But that's what being an ally is about. Is just if you're not sure how to help us, and you actively want to help us, just ask. That's all you have to do. Just ask, um, and yeah, it's as simple as that. Um, Erica, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, so you can find me at oerica.com. So that's OH, like, oh my God, Erica, ERICA.com. Oh, Erica. And you can, from there, you can read my blog. It puts out something every 2 weeks or so. And then you can find me on LinkedIn, where I'm pretty prolific, and other places. So if you want to check what I'm doing, go find me there. Um, I think it's sort of a final plug to kind of go on here. Support this organization, right? We're trying to do something good. We're trying to pull people together. We have these rotating hosts. We're building a coalition here. Lend your money if you can, um, and look out for us. Show up for us. Support artists who are trans as well. There's a lot of great ones out there selling stuff.
There are.
Support our community. Pump that money in, so
Yeah.
that we have the help to make sure our rights are brought on par with everybody else and maintained. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, yeah. It's simple, you know. Uh, I had another. Oh yeah. I will have links to both sites in the description of this week's podcast and our in the YouTube release, so people
Cool.
can find them easily there. And something that we've been talking about in the Discord is getting into some merch. So I know Erica was talking about, we were all talking about trying to find artwork and stuff like that. Because right now, the artwork that we're using is just some shit I threw together in Canva in about 5 minutes. So, but
Logo coming your way
Hey,
soon.
better
okay,
than New York
great.
City new logo.
What's
Did you see
that?
the I Heart New York, the new logo that they did, the redesign of it? Look it
No.
up after this. It's horrible.
Oh, dear. Oh, great. Um, well, thank you, Erica. Yeah, that we're so we want to have merch, and we want to grow. So the ways that if you love the show, the ways you can help us is tell your friends. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or other podcasts that you can leave reviews, please leave us a 5 star, because once the farts find us, we are going to have a lot of negative reviews and a lot of trolling stuff like that. So um, the more reviews we get, the higher we're gonna get in the search rankings, and our voices will get out there even more. So, I am so appreciative of all the kind words. I've had people reach out to me, say they love the show, and it's been helpful for them, and I love hearing that. Anyone that wants to reach out to us directly, our email is transcending.humanity.podcast@gmail.com. I know it's long, but at least it's pretty easy. Or you can send any of us a DM on LinkedIn. Our our current just podcast site also has like lists of all the hosts, so you can learn about us as well. So I want to thank you two for joining us. This has been lovely. It's been wonderful having some new voices here, and I'm looking forward to seeing both of you in on future episodes. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. It's nice to get to talk to all of you and see
Yeah.
your faces actually on camera and hear your
Yeah.
voices. I've known both of you for a little while now, so I really
Wait,
enjoyed
you're
it. Thanks for
real?
having me. Hmm?
What's that,
No,
Devin?
I'm saying like, oh, you're a real person?
Oh yeah,
I am a real person, despite I
Yeah,
don't know what you think, but
it
it's
I
has been
exist.
really nice.
it's weird actually talking to people like in quote unquote in person because we're just so used to just text chat anymore. So okay, thank you both so much for joining. Everyone listening, thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends. We love hearing from you. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Bye.